Welcome students to the class 9 biology. The first lesson is the fundamental unit of life. Invention of magnifying lens led to the discovery of microscopic world. The discovery of cell from cork tissue was a breakthrough in the study of living world. First, let us see the history of cell study. Discovery of cell was in 1665 by the scientist Robert Hooke. Next, in 1674, Leeuwenhoek discovered living cells. In 1831, Robert Brown discovered nucleus. 1839, Purkinje coined the term protoplasm for the living content of the cell. Then two scientists, Schleiden and Schwann, Schleiden in 1838 and Schwann in 1839, presented cell theory. The cell theory states that all plants and animals are composed of cells and that the cell is the basic unit of life. The cell theory was further expanded in 1855 by Virchow. He suggested that all cells arise from pre-existing cells. With the discovery of the electron microscope in 1940, it was possible to observe and understand the complex structure of the cell and its various organelles. It is now known that a single cell may constitute a whole organism, as in amoeba and paramecium. These organisms are called unicellular organisms. On the other hand, many cells group together in a single body and assume different functions in it to form various body parts in multicellular organisms such as fungi, plants, and animals. Every multicellular organism has come from a single cell. Each various cells have different shape. You may see the different shapes of different types of cells in human body. This is the shape of a smooth muscle cell. This is bone cell, and next comes the nerve cell. Each living cell has the capacity to perform certain basic functions that are characteristics of all living forms. In fact, each such cell has got certain specific components within it known as cell organelles. Each kind of cell organelle performs a specific function such as making new material in the cell, clearing up the waste materials from the cell, and so on. A cell is able to live and perform all its functions because of these organelles. These organelles together constitute the basic unit called the cell. Next, let us see what is a cell made up of. If we study a cell under a microscope, we would come across three features in almost every cell: plasma membrane, nucleus, and cytoplasm. First, let us learn in detail about plasma membrane or cell membrane. Plasma membrane is the outermost covering of the cell that separates the content of the cell from its external environment. The plasma membrane allows or permits the entry and exit of some materials in and out of the cell. it also prevents movement of some other materials. Because of this, cell membrane is called a selectively permeable membrane. How does the movement of substances take place into the cell? Some substances like carbon dioxide or oxygen can move across the cell membrane by a process called diffusion. You have studied the process of diffusion in chemistry in an earlier chapter. We saw that there is a spontaneous movement of a substance from a region of high concentration to a region where its concentration is low. Something similar to this happens in the cells. For example, some substances like carbon dioxide, which is cellular waste and requires to be excreted out of the cell. You know that carbon dioxide is produced as a byproduct of respiration. And when it accumulates in high concentration inside the cell, it has to be removed. In the cell's external environment, the concentration of carbon dioxide is low as compared to that inside the cell. As soon as there is a difference of concentration of carbon dioxide inside and outside of a cell, carbon dioxide moves out of the cell from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration outside the cell by the process of diffusion. Again, diffusion is spontaneous movement of a substance from a region of high concentration to a region where its concentration is low. So the same principle is applied in the removal of carbon dioxide from the cells. Similarly, oxygen. Oxygen, as you know, is necessary for cellular respiration. Oxygen enters the cell by the process of diffusion when the level or concentration of oxygen inside the cell decreases. Thus, diffusion plays an important role in gaseous exchange between the cells as well as the cell and its external environment. Water also obeys the law of diffusion. The movement of water molecules through a selectively permeable membrane is called osmosis. The movement of water across the plasma membrane. Plasma membrane functions as a selectively permeable membrane. Across the plasma membrane is also affected by the amount of substance dissolved in water. You know that water, there are nutrients dissolved in water around the plant roots in the soil. Thus, osmosis is the passage of water from a region of high water concentration through a semi-permeable membrane to a region of low water concentration. So, when you talk about this movement of water molecules, you have to think about cell in a solution. So, you have to consider when an animal cell or plant cell in a solution of sugar or salt, different types of salts or something like that. One of the following three things could happen. So, you have to consider this solution around the cell in three different concentrations: hypertonic solution, isotonic solution, hypertonic solution. Let us see what will happen to the cell when it is placed in different concentration of solution. If the medium surrounding the cell has a higher water concentration than the cell, meaning the outside solution is very dilute, the cell will gain water by osmosis. Such a solution is called hypotonic solution. how this happens is water molecules are free to pass across the cell membrane in both directions. But according to the principle of osmosis, more water will come into the cell than will leave. The net result is that water enters the cell. The cell is likely to swell up. So next, what happens in isotonic solution? If the medium has exactly the same water concentration as the cell, there will be no net movement of water across the cell membrane. Such a solution is known as isotonic solution. Water crosses the cell membrane in both directions, but the amount going in is same as the amount going out. So there is no overall movement of water. So the cell will stay the same size. Third, if the medium has a lower concentration of water than the cell, meaning that it is very concentrated solution, the cell will lose water by osmosis. Such a solution is known as hypertonic solution. Again, water crosses the cell membrane in both directions, but this time more water leaves the cell than enters it. Therefore, the cell will shrink. Thus, osmosis is a special case of diffusion through a selectively permeable membrane. Unicellular freshwater organisms and most plant cells tend to gain water through osmosis. Absorption of water by plant roots is also an example of osmosis. Thus, diffusion is important in exchange of gases and water in the life of a cell. In addition to this, the cell also obtains nutrition from its environment. Different molecules move in and out of the cell through a type of transport requiring use of energy. Plasma membrane is flexible and is made up of organic molecules called lipids and proteins. This flexibility of the cell membrane enables the cell to engulf in food and other materials from its external environment. Such a process is known as endocytosis. Amoeba acquires its food through such process. Now I have put some questions for evaluation. Dried raisins placed in a solution swelled after few hours. Mention the type of solution. Explain this change. Why is the plasma membrane called a selectively permeable membrane? Define the terms osmosis, diffusion, and endocytosis.